Welcome back to this week's Mounting Yard preview. My name is Bella Anderson. I'm Betfair's Mounting Yard analyst, and this week we're racing at headquarters at Flemington for Group 3 Ori Stars Day, and it's going to be a really good day of racing, and I'm so excited because I think the weather is finally getting warmer. This weekend's racing also marks the first day of our 10 race program starting down here in Melbourne, and that race is race 2. It's the Aspirant Series. It's a benchmark 70 over 1200 metres, and I think the yard's going to be really crucial in these days to see which of these country bumpkins is going to hand Metro Life the best. And Rivkin and the Prodigal Son have both looked good at their previous starts. They're two key market players at the moment, and the other one is in her stride and she's first up, so I think her fitness on the day is going to be really crucial. Race 3 is a benchmark 70 for the 3-year-olds over 1410 metres, and Extreme Spirit actually laid this horse first up, laid into the yard, toey, had fitness improvement to come and was a little bit dull in the coat. Third up now, looking to see him fitter and more relaxed, and I definitely expect this from him now that he's got the freshness out of his legs and a few runs under his belt. Flancancello also laid him last start. He is definitely an abnormal horse in the mounting yard. He's kind of the exact opposite of what you'd normally like to see. He's a bit on the lighter side. He had a very woolly, dull, thick, wintry coat, a very short, sharp stride, but he had a very professional attitude, which is really nice to see in a 3-year-old. And clearly, this is just him. His parade has no correlation to his performance, so he's one that you can now just take and trust on his form. Gangitano loved this horse's first up parade. He come back in absolutely magnificent order. He had a really lovely glowing summer coat, forward fitness-wise, and the rise in distance on type is definitely going to suit him as well. Gorski, don't be worried if you see this horse getting warm. He's a natural free sweater. And Robrick as well. He had quite a wintry coat last start and was a little bit short in his stride. Don't be deterred by the wintry coat, but I would like to see him step out a little bit more smoother. Race 4 is a benchmark 84 for the mares, once again over the 1410 metres, and both Queen Air and Lavina aren't great walkers. They're quite short, sharp, tight in their stride, but they both run well regardless of this, so basically ignore their walks in the mounting yard. Good and Proper and Be or Bay both hold weight throughout their preps. They're quite solid, heavy mares naturally, but this is really good for race prep longevity, meaning they can stay up in their preparation longer just due to holding all that weight and not having the tendency to lighten off. Hellhound, she has been a mare that has caught me up many times in the mounting yard. Her parade does not correlate with performance, so she's another one to make sure you use your form as a guide. She gets hot, she's light, she's sweaty, she's toey, she's just... don't even bother looking at her. Use your form. And Rick's Cafe. Toey is completely normal for her. She wears 2 hind bandages as well, and she's a horse I'm really looking forward to seeing return. I loved her parade's last preparation. Race 5 is a benchmark 100 over the 2,530 metres, and this is where we've got polar opposite staying types. We've got 4 horses, 2 on each end of very, very different staying type spectrums. Mostly Cloudy and Mimi's of Water on this end. Now they're very lean, light gallopers. They both don't hold a lot of condition. They're very thin and quite lengthy and definitely look like more of a petite, sort of lightly framed marathon runner, as you could say. And on the very, very other end of the spectrum is T-Waters and Alhambra Lad. These are both huge horses. They do not look like stayers. They definitely more so look like pregnant horses that could be sprinters. They have enormous bellies. They carry so much weight on them deep into a prep, and they could almost be twice the size of the other 2 gallopers, Mimi's Award and Mostly Cloudy. So this is just them, but it definitely makes for very interesting mounting yard viewing. Race 7 is the feature of the card at Flemington. It's the Group 3 Ori Star over the 1200 metres, so for the sprinting horses. Really disappointed Ingratiating has been scratched from the race, but that leaves a pretty wide open field, particularly from a mounting yard point of view. Here to Shock, she's returning to the races. Normal to see her getting quite warm, and also normal to see her wearing 2 hind bandages. And the other key gallopers in the market currently are both Cause for Concern and It's Our Time, and these are just 2 horses that I've seen them plenty of times now, and they're also horses that have continued to perplex me, but they're just both not great paraders. They do a few things wrong, but this has no correlation to their performance. They're both definitely fit now as well, and that's the main thing to note. So definitely use your form as a guide for both Cause for Concern and It's Our Time. Race 8 is a benchmark 84 over the 1620 metres, and it's normal for both Braden Starr and Aaron Bay to get quite warm and parade toey in the mounting yard. Doesn't impact their performances. Vitruvius, also normal for him to parade toey. Presser, I've seen him twice in his career and he's been the pick of the yard on both occasions. He's a beautiful horse to look at. He's a really impressive type, and every time I've seen him, he's been hard fit, plenty of muscle tone. So also really looking forward to seeing Presser once again. And Hennessy Lad laid this horse first up. He had significant fitness improvement to come and he got really warm as well. So I'd like to see an improved parade from him. Race 10 is a benchmark 84 over the 1100 metres, and I dare to say it's a match race between two horses and probably the race I'm most looking forward to on the card. It's the return of Benedetta and Najim Suhail, who's second up into his prep. They're both two really exciting sprinting types. Najim Suhail, he was the pick of the yard first up. I simply could not believe the manner in which he'd returned from last preparation. He was a beast. He's grown, he's come back bigger, stronger, a better, more furnished, more settled, more mature version of himself, and I was so impressed with the way in which he returned. And then he also showed that on the track as well, winning first up. I did think he had fitness improvement to come, so it'll be really interesting to see the improvement he's taken from that first up run. And he's a horse that can also get toey, so don't be too concerned if you see him getting a little bit above himself in the mounting yard. That's just a sign that he's feeling really well within himself. And Benedetta, well, she's definitely interesting. So she's probably the complete opposite of Najim Suhail. Well, at least she was last preparation. Last prep, she was a really slightly framed girl. She had never carried a lot of weight. She's very light, lean. She doesn't have a whole lot of muscle mass. And due to this, the stable basically had to space her runs to make sure she didn't lighten off too much and that she basically had as much strength and condition on her as possible first up. So I think that's going to be really ideal for her, and I'm really intrigued to see if she's grown over her break. I'd love to see her come back a little bit stronger, but at the same time it's certainly no concern if she hasn't necessarily grown, because she performed very well last campaign being on the smaller side. But cannot wait to see Benedetta return, and like I said, I think it's the match race of the day. Well, that's a wrap on this week's Mounting Yard preview, where we took a look at the 10 race card at Flemington on Saturday. Make sure you're following both Betfair and I's Twitter platforms, where we'll be posting the live Mounting Yard mail updates on track at Flemington.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.